I just have some words. Trevor, I'm looking through your Furry Fiesta 2013 album on Reddit. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty unique.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hatecore Podcast. This is your host, Frank DePercio, and I'm here with Jay.
What? I'm here. What?
Burt.
Hey there, Internet.
Trevor.
Meat.
And Andrew.
Hey, guys.
And today we're going to sacrifice some of your favorite sacred cows of gaming. That's right, summer is here, the weather is hot, and we're going to toss a few games on the Barbie and sacrifice some of the gaming classics that you guys think can do no wrong.
I don't know how much Barbie will appreciate that.
I hate that bitch. I hate her. She's a hussy. All right, so to start it off, we're going to talk to Trevor, see some of the games that everyone seems to love, but you just can't stand, buddy.
Well, okay, it's not one that I can't stand. I also love it. I'm just tired of the basically unconditional love of GoldenEye on the N64. Because every time anyone asks you what was some of the good early first-person shooters, they always say GoldenEye, but not Perfect Dark.
Yes.
Perfect Dark is an infinitely better game than GoldenEye. I mean, Perfect Dark took everything that was good about GoldenEye and made it better, yet no one seems to recognize that.
I agree with you. Perfect Dark is a much better game, but I don't think we would have had Perfect Dark if Rare didn't, kind of cut their teeth on GoldenEye.
Well, yeah, but still, that doesn't mean you can forget Perfect Dark. That's my problem.
I think what most people harken back to with GoldenEye actually is the fact that back then Nintendo latched onto that concept that you could get 4 people in one room without paying for an expensive service to play with everybody else who in turn have to spend $60 on the game and have the system. So I think a lot of people have nostalgia for it because you could cram a ton of people around around your living room and kill the shit out of each other for hours, which with GoldenEye was a novel concept.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it, is, the fact that, GoldenEye came out, it was holiday in 1996, and Perfect Dark came out in 2000. I'm pretty sure that up until the time Perfect Dark came out, I just had an entire posse of kids over my house all the time, and everyone was sitting around the TV, getting in deathmatch, team play, complex with proximity mines, the total chaos of all of it. It was so fucking fun, and there was nothing else like it on consoles at the time.
And, of course, there was also the advantage of basically bagging on the guy who wanted to play Odd Job.
Odd Job. Fuck Odd Job. Running up,
nothing quite like not being able to shoot the midget because you don't have a Z-axis.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just kind of remember it. I'm not very well versed in GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, but just from what I know of it, it seems like it's just very much remembered for what it started. Like, yes, Perfect Dark, whether or not Perfect Dark is a better game than it seems like GoldenEye did a lot of things that were done first, and a lot of people revere it for that, and so because of that, people overhype it based on what it did first and not what it's actually good at now.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that it gets the nod. It's like the original version of Dungeons & Dragons or the Beatles. I don't really understand either of those concepts as things that I particularly like, but I respect them because of what they'd set for precedent. I'm never going to be a huge Beatle maniac. I am never going to, embrace the original D&D with all of my love, but I will at least give them the respect that, hey man, you started a trend. Good on you, and GoldenEye gets that.
That's true, but how many people, when you talk about, the start of the popularity of music games, say Guitar Freaks?
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
Drawing a blank on this
They
one
did
here.
it first,
Konami's
but no one
music
remembers
game
it.
debut.
Well, see, that's a little different because what you're describing is something where people have forgotten the originator. What it sounds like is with GoldenEye is people revering the originator over, revering the thing that started a trend more than the thing that perfected that trend, which is Perfect Dark. I'd say, if people forget something that started a trend and remember something like Guitar Hero and Rock Band that perfected that trend, then I feel like that's kind of a different argument, but similar. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, another way to look at it, too. I mean, it's really hard to believe, especially when you're talking about Nintendo 64 games. But Perfect Dark came out a year before Halo.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah, 2000. Halo was November, I think, 18th, 2001. God, I'm a fucking nerd. But, yeah, and that said, I mean, really, look how much the shooters have, really, I'd say for the most part stayed the same since the first Halo was released. You haven't seen any huge innovations that kind of set the precedent for what a first-person shooter on a console should be. They've matured a lot since, GoldenEye. And that said, you look at the contemporaries when GoldenEye was around. What did you have? Duke Nukem. I mean, just looking at the N64 stable of shooters. Duke Nukem 3D 64, Doom 64. None of those could hold a candle to GoldenEye. And I think that's why it's remembered so well.
Mm.
And the crowd went mild.
I was going to also say that I think a lot of the people who do revere GoldenEye so much probably haven't touched it since 2000. Because have any of you gone back and played GoldenEye?
I've played a little bit, and I'll tell you what, I never noticed the frame rate drops so much as I do now. Like, you get, I used to always love to play Complex with proximity mines and grenade launchers. You get tons of explosions on screen with 4 people. You're lucky if you're getting 5 frames per second. I mean, it's complete fucking chaos. But
yeah, that engine that they made, I mean, that really pushed the N64 to its limits.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, the other thing you got to remember with the nostalgia, too, is I refer to this as the He-Man effect. I remember watching He-Man growing up, and I loved the shit out of He-Man, but from what little snippets of it that I see today, I ain't ever going back. Yeah. I want to keep my happy memories. And GoldenEye kind of falls under that. It's one of those, is this worth retro gaming time on? I don't know. I got this brunch with Hitler tomorrow that I got to brush up for. I don't think I can play that. So you always have that going for any game like that, too.
But you know what? I will agree with you, and I want to bring I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I do want to talk about a good Perfect Dark memory I have. And I haven't played a lot of first-person shooters that still felt as epic as this did, but sneaking into, the Datadyne building in the first mission?
Yes.
Co-op with a friend, going down from the roof, trying to stealth kill your whole way through, sneaking down the glass elevator, and then having that helicopter just start circling the building and unloading into it, and, just mobs of goons at the bottoms with machine guns at the bottom of the elevator, just like bum rushing you. That was pretty damn epic. I'll tell you what, the co-op campaign in Perfect Dark is something I'd probably gladly play again. I don't know. I appreciate you bringing it up tonight because it just hit me with a huge wave of nostalgia. And you're right. That was a classic. And I think it really is a far superior game to GoldenEye. And it does deserve a lot more credit than it gets. I do kind of feel that maybe Perfect Dark Zero could be partly responsible for why nobody talks about it anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a palate cleanser. Anything else? Any other sacred cows you want to sacrifice tonight?
None that I can think of right now.
All right, moving along. How about you, Burt?
Well, we were talking about this a little bit earlier today. Maybe this is a function of age. I don't know.
Incontinence? You guys I'm here, buddy.
Yeah, but the thing is even you fit into this, if I remember correctly, because do you not enjoy Pokemon, Frank?
No, actually, I don't.
Okay.
But I did try during the Squirtle Squad episode of the cartoon, and
I think it's got to be a function of age. It's just I see you guys talking about Pokemon. I know that Marius has a mad on for Pokemon.
Marius, me, and Andrew all do kind of.
Yeah, since the first podcast. What is the fascination? I mean, all I can think of is we're training a new generation of young Michael Vicks with fantasy creatures, tossing their collect animals into dark fucking cages, only to release them out to tear at each other's throat viciously. We have taught our 8-year-olds to cockfight. It's kind of amazing and disturbing when you look back at the unique horror of it. It causes seizures in children. It makes you cry out with bloodlust. How does something that goes Squirtle, Squirtle have bloodlust?
Well, technically...
Maybe you can explain it to me.
Well, technically, it doesn't go Squirtle, Squirtle.
Shut up, Andrew. Let's be serious about this here. All right. So
Wait, rewind. Burt, tell us how you really feel.
All right.
I'll go take my heart medicine now.
So the thing about Pokemon, oh man, oh man. All right, so Pokemon's a big thing for me. Like I hear what you're saying, and this is coming from someone very on the other side from you, where Pokemon is what got me into video games. Like I would probably have gotten into video games at some point, but I have no idea if it would have been with the same like initial passion and fervor that it was with Pokemon being like my first game. My first game and system was a Game Boy Advance and Pokemon Sapphire when I was like 8 years old, and it's just been something timeless for me. I think obviously what initially got everyone with Pokemon is collecting all these different creatures and like the idea that all these different combinations of teams exist, and just something about the collection of it within the game, being able to carry it around and show your friends and battle your friends was just really novel. But honestly,
that it doesn't just stay in the game too, because ask any parent from there, the wallet raping qualities that it had, not just from the video games, but man, I mean, Pokemon put some of my favorite shit in tabletop gaming on the side.
Yeah, the trading
all
card
of a sudden,
right?
all of the game stores want to carry the trading card game because they make fuck tons of money, and I kind of watched it dismantle some of my favorite gaming stores. And all of a sudden, there's all of this neon yellow Easter basket vomit, as Frank calls it, that is very Nintendo-esque, and it's everywhere. And all of a sudden, I can't get to all the other tabletop stuff I love. It was kind of the same effect with Magic the Gathering back in the day.
Yeah, the trading card game is an interesting thing. I personally, I play trading card games here and there, but Pokemon, the TCG, isn't really my thing. But yeah, I think you touch on something with the trading card game that I think is part of the key to why it's endured so much. Like I've talked about before, how Pokemon is basically my Call of Duty. Like it doesn't change. It's the same game, but I still buy it every time. I still enjoy. Like they add more creatures and more worlds, but it's essentially the same gameplay. It's just new monsters, new stories, new characters and stuff with the exact same gameplay. I think the reason, or part of the reason it endures, is because it's not just the main games. It's the sum of the parts of everything that like the Pokemon thing has become. Like, there's the games, there's all the spin-off games. Like, some of the spin-off games are some of my favorite Pokemon games, and they're completely different.
Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, Pokemon Snap. The Mystery Dungeon games are fucking fantastic. And, the trading card game, like, the TCG has a very big base of people who still play it. Very big. And the anime even still has fans. The anime has gotten better in recent seasons from what I've been told, and there are even older fans coming back and enjoying that. I think the thing about Pokemon, and Andrew, I'll let you say your piece on this too, of course, but for me, and this is also coming from someone who started out writing on a Pokemon site, is that it's the sum of its parts. Like, if you get tired of the games for a while, you can find other things related to this world and characters and stuff that you love and still enjoy that. Like, I know people who have stopped playing the games but gotten really into the card game and then gotten really
Pokemon /alt/furry/sex.
You kind of lost me there, but okay.
What I'm saying is you started out with Pokemon fan fiction, and I'm sure that there's probably some interesting fan fiction out there.
Oh.
Yeah,
we will have a conversation about interesting Pokemon fanfiction at a later time. Just go to Topless Robots Fanfiction Friday section, and you will find a gold mine.
Because there's also the thing with, like, I see a 30-year-old playing a Pokemon game, and my first thought is pedophile.
No, all right.
That's the first thought I have.
All right, so that honestly, okay. So the thing about that is, a lot of people, that's the common misconception that Pokemon is nothing but extremely simple gameplay and cutesy bullshit. There is cutesy bullshit in it, no surprise, because it is being marketed partially for children, but there's a reason people still play it and keep playing it older, and why the tournament fan base and competitive gameplay fan base is so big, which is that there's a lot of depth to Pokemon. Like, there is a ton of depth and strategy and different types of battles, different ways to... I could freaking rant for an entire podcast about this, which I'm starting to do now, so someone chain me down. But,
honestly, I don't have much more to say than what Jay has. Like, he kind of just hit it dead on. There's so much more to the Pokemon games than just, the games. There's, like, the anime's gotten better. Like, I believe either this coming up Saturday or the Saturday after, fucking Charizard's coming back. Like, who,
that's cool. They're doing a lot
what
of
adolescent who watched Pokemon as a kid isn't going to fucking watch Charizard come back,
I'm sorry, and the name Charizard makes me think of some mutated drooling thing in a helmet.
It's kind of like a chud.
It's just you hear some of the names and just horrible things flood into my mind.
Don't worry, there's some fucked up names. But Pokemon, no matter it's a game, it's a show, it's a franchise that can pertain to all ages. Like what you said, oh, he's a pedophile. Well, I mean, yeah, he might be a pedophile, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy a good game. Like Jay said, yes, Pokemon's my favorite Call of Duty. That's the same thing, but I still enjoy
Pokemon
it.
Call of Duty. That could be something.
No, all right, yeah. Here's the thing: is like, yes, it's Call of Duty, but like with Call of Duty, even if each one is the same, there is strategy to it, there is depth to it, and there's reasons people still come back and be competitive with it and like make it a big part of what they enjoy doing.
And Pokemon is just so much more. There's 649 fucking Pokemon right now, not including the new Pokemon. Okay?
It's understanding, yeah.
Did you realize that after, I think, Gen 2, they dropped the slogan, gotta catch 'em all? Because there's no way in hell anyone's gonna go catch 649 fucking Pokemon. But the thing is, you can. And you can enjoy yourself when you do it.
I'm sure there's an autistic kid somewhere in Tokyo who has, in fact, collected them all. His parents are dead, and he's torn out their eyes, and he uses them like click-clacks.
Yeah, Andrew, you're kind of going into, like, autistic nerd mode here about it, but...
Well, it's an over-expansive, universe, and there's so much more to it than just, the main games. Like you said, the Mystery Dungeon games, Blue Mystery Dungeon is one of my favorite games of all time,
Yeah, same with me with Explorers of Time.
That sounds like German dungeon porn.
Shut up!
It's basically a Pokemon roguelike.
Yeah, it is. It is a Pokemon roguelike, and it's fantastic.
So, speaking about Pokemon, in this group, I'm probably the only person who is actually the target audience of Pokemon originally. Pokemon was released in the U.S. in 1998. I was only 13 at the time. So, I mean, I think they targeted, like 10-year-olds, but 13 is close enough.
Yeah.
And, what appealed to me was basically you have these cool animals that have godlike elemental powers, and you go on a trip on your own out into the world and capture them and basically control these godlike animals. And that was the thing that appealed to me. And the anime was cool too. I couldn't get into the card game, but I really loved the games. And I had a Game Boy with the big brick with the green screen and a version of Pokemon Red.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. To me, what it comes down to is just like it's Shin Megami Tensei meets Monster Rancher. I don't see why that's not cool. Like it's just a cool thing. I don't know.
Wait. Where are we getting the Mega 10 here?
Because it's
well, I guess recruiting the monsters you fight.
You're catching monsters with different elemental powers, and they I don't know. It's similar enough. It's been likened to it a lot from what I've like I actually got recommended.
A child trying to catch a grizzly bear in the wild, and the blood that results as that happens.
I know.
I choose you.
It's like a freaking modern art show over there.
Atlas did release a game very similar, Demi Kids, didn't they, for the Game Boy, which is pretty much part and parcel Pokemon, from what I remember.
Yeah, it's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And is Nintendo a direct? Are they the direct parent of Pokemon?
No, it's Game Freak, which is owned by Nintendo. So it's sort of one of their like sub companies, basically.
One level removed.
Yeah.
And admittedly, the
second party.
And I'm totally not the target audience because in 1998, I was graduating college. And, it's one of those things where the reason that we heard about it was because of the cartoon making Japanese kids have seizures. Which, of course, meant a lot of us wanted to see if it would make any of us have a seizure. Yeah. But which was
only one episode, and it was only like a 3-second sequence in that one episode.
Yeah, it was a cool episode, too.
But how many had to die for that episode?
We kept looking at it and going, what is this crap? Because,
Well, yeah, the show is never that good. Like, that's the other thing, is people tend to judge it based off the show. Like I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like saying Mario is bad because of the Super Mario Super Show.
Hey, you take that back, Captain Lou Albano.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to
mention. You didn't say that with a straight fucking face.
Or like saying, Zelda is bad because, excuse me, princess.
Hell yes. No, Zelda's
the damage that cartoon did is completely offset by the damage of the CDI games. All right, we can't even knock it. We really can't. I look forward to every other Friday when that aired. That was a great fucking cartoon.
I wonder what Gannon's up to.
Something I want to say about
Let's go bomb some dongos.
before we get off of Pokemon, since we are still technically on that subject, guys.
No, we're
Pokemon.
not. No, we're fucking not. No, go ahead.
Pokemon also has, that nostalgia factor to me. I mean, yes, I'm 18 now. I still love the hell out of the games. But that was something I grew up with playing. And I feel like that was just a perfect game to get into gaming with, like what Jay said with his first game being Pokemon. And you look at games these days, and there's not so many games that children of 6 or 7 or 8 can really get into and enjoy as well as maybe picking up Pokemon Red or Blue for the first time.
I would say Red or Blue, but just Pokemon, it still remains to be really accessible.
Like my little brother, I want him so bad to play classic games, like Pokemon Red or Blue, but I can't get him to do it. It sucks. It's boring. He doesn't want to,
Well, that's just a generational thing, right? Like he has his Skylanders, and we had Pokemon, and the next generation will have some other dumb crap.
Pokemon Skylanders.
Oh my god! Please.
I feel like Pokemon was one of those just perfect games to start gaming with.
It is, yeah. That's
it holds close to me because of that.
I wanted to touch on another point too. Is you mentioned that you see people in their 30s, playing it, and you automatically think pedophile. But if you think about it, 1998 was 15 years ago. Some of the people who first started playing Pokemon are getting into their 30s now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
true.
It's that, and it's like I said, I've tried to get into the competitive scene, but it is so dense. There's so much to it that you have to be an adult to fully stand how much goes into it.
And
IV stats,
traits,
breeding, all these different traits and abilities and statistics and different types of. Oh my god.
Having Asperger's probably helps.
Exactly. Really, I'm sure the, worldwide champions of the Pokemon game are all the most aspy people you will ever meet. It's...
Aspy, that's a word, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
Damn right it is.
According to the internet, that is the term.
But no, I think like Andrew was saying, it's a big nostalgia factor, right? Even before I got my first Pokemon game, I, grew up watching Pokemon. The Pokemon anime, it's not even that good, but... I remember it being one of the first cartoons that really, imprinted on me when I was little. The early seasons. And so, it's just nostalgia factor, a lot of it is, too, which I think is going to be a very big running theme in this subject.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I just, we're hitting about 30 minutes, I think, on the Pokemon topic.
Yeah.
Sorry for the flame bait, boys.
But, anyone have anything else they wanted to add to that before we move on to the next cow we're going to slaughter?
Only because I would go on ranting for another half hour and nobody wants that.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, why don't you grill us some beef, buddy?
Me?
Right along.
Okay, so I kind of have two and one. Alright. My main one is, Andrew, I can hear, Andrew's head, it's like the sound of a pot of water boiling.
His teeth are already grinding.
Steam is coming out of his ears already, and I know he's gonna come to my house with a chainsaw.
I'm already there.
Alright, so I think we can all agree. I don't even know how you manage that because you do not have a car, and my house is 17 miles away from yours. I think we can all agree that, well, I don't know, agree, but I definitely think one of the most overrated games of all time is Ocarina of Time.
Fuck you.
Oh my god. Alright, so... full disclosure, Ocarina was not my first Zelda game. I didn't even really play it until I got on Virtual Console, then 3DS. It's okay. I honestly enjoy Twilight Princess more than Ocarina.
Oh, get the fuck out.
Okay, you want to do this? I'm putting my fucking boxing gloves on here. No, Ocarina of Time... To me, it's a good game. I will fully acknowledge it is a good game. And again, it's a lot like the GoldenEye argument Trevor was talking about. It started a lot of things. It set a lot of precedents that would be used for many games afterwards in terms of how to create good 3D, action games. Because this was a time when this kind of game was new and 3D technology in gaming was new. I fully respect it for that. That doesn't really make it the best Zelda game to me. people always talk about the most perplexing thing about this game. It's not like I don't think it's a bad game. I'm stumbling over my words as I do, but it's not that it's a bad game. It is not a bad game in the slightest. It is a very enjoyable game. I had a fun time with it. But to me, the fact is that like the reasons people have for or not everyone, but a lot of the reasons I hear the most for people calling it their favorite Zelda game, best game ever made, blah 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 blah, are just reasons that seem so dated to me. Like, so many people, you ask them why they love Ocarina of Time so much, they say, oh, how open it is. The world of Ocarina of Time is one, like, blob of Hyrule Field with all these little spokes poking out around it for these different other areas. It is not, like, it's relatively open in the fact that you can run around a giant, empty, dead field all you want, but there's just not much to it. Like, if I think open, I honestly think Twilight Princess more, because you had this enormous...
bullshit.
Thank you.
Right there.
Thank you.
Twilight Princess was corridor Hyrule Field. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Everything was canyons and bridges, buddy. Bullshit argument. Don't want to hear it.
Oh, the original Dirge of Cerberus.
I just don't, like, I don't know, there's just something so much cooler about having this enormous, like, series
empty
of
sea
areas.
with, like, two islands?
No, this enormous sea of areas surrounding this castle, and then all these, I don't know. There's just something I enjoyed a lot more about the way Twilight Princess world works. Probably just because the reason I don't like Ocarina of Time's world design, and that it's so perplexing to me that people still love it for it, is just, I don't know, it's just this one area, the Hyrule Field, with these little spokes poking out of it. Like, it's not that inventive. It's...
I know that Andrew wants to lead his crusade against you and burn you to the ground here, and I fully support that.
That's fine.
And Andrew, I'm going to let you finish. But first, I just want to say, for the fucking record here, alright, Chief Halftown, follow me. Every Zelda game since Ocarina of Time has had a very deceptive scope as far as the map goes. Again, like you mentioned, and I won't disagree with you, Ocarina of Time, open field, like you said, spokes. Twilight Princess, open field, nothing but canyons, rivers, and bridges. Looks big on the map. When you're actually navigating it, you're going down fucking hallways. It's really nothing special. It is a very restrictive world. Wind Waker. How many fucking islands are there for that vast ocean? 49. Like half a dozen, and they're minuscule.
49? Oh.
Yeah, there's 50. But no,
yeah, I've shit things bigger than those islands, my friend.
Yeah. I see.
All I'm saying is that really, when it gets down to it, Zelda is about the dungeons. The overworld is such a tiny part of the game.
Yeah. And I enjoyed the dungeons in Ocarina just as much as any other. I don't know. Personally, I just can't see why. And I think I'm harping on the world design too much. Because what it really comes down to for me is, I mean, yeah, we can talk about world design all we want. Like, I liked the openness of Wind Waker. Like, yes, and the islands are small, whatever.
It's all about the dungeons and the puzzles, though.
I even like the presentation of Twilight Princess's world, despite whatever you want to say about it. But yeah, it's the dungeons. And with the dungeons, yeah, Ocarina had some cool ones. The friggin' Shadow Temple was awesome.
We're just not going to talk about the Water Temple.
The Shadow Temple, I even enjoyed the Water Temple, honestly, probably because I was playing on the 3DS version, which is a lot easier. But
terrible.
No, but
what happens to the Water Temple stays in the Water
Temple. It's easier on the 3DS version.
No, but you're terrible.
People never leave the Water Temple.
You're not one of those people that got to experience the Water Temple firsthand, when it was difficult, when there wasn't little fucking clues just telling you where to go. You know what? Somebody kill... Oh.
No, please, cut loose, Andrew.
Okay.
Do what you gotta do.
So, nostalgia's kind of going to lead it just a bit, okay?
Of course, yeah.
But it's not. Ocarina of Time, one of the first major 3D adventure games, like, just of all time, you know, nothing to me, you know, beats just stepping out of that forest and just seeing Hyrule Field, you know, for the first time ever in all of its glory, seeing Death Mountain in the background, seeing, you know, Hyrule Castle, you know, seeing the entryway to Gerudo Valley, just so many things that I could explore, and I got to it. There was that feeling of, whoa, holy shit. You know, especially if you look back to, say, the first, or the last games before it, like, you know, the first Zelda, A Link to the Past, you only saw so much. Here, you just saw this open field and everything that holds it. Okay, sure, the field is a little empty. you know? Okay? But, okay, one of the first things you do in Hyrule Fields is you see this fucking thing sticking out of the ground. And you wonder, the hell is that? And you go over, and then this gigantic, like, spinning fucking thing called a pinhead comes out of the ground and starts chasing you, and you don't know what to do. Okay?
You know,
And
I've been playing the one on the 3DS, and I had the exact same reaction. It's like, oh, what's this thing? And it starts like this looming sound, and it slowly rises out of the ground, and these huge blades start spinning, and it comes slowly towards you. I'm like, fuck that shit!
Exactly. It's just one of those, like, what the fuck moments. But you enjoyed it, and you just got to see everything that Hyrule Field had for you. You know, Lon ramps sitting in the middle where you get your first horse. You know, just
and death.
That's fair enough.
You know, and another thing that I didn't think you saw very often back then that was kind of cool was the real-time passage of night and day.
That
Yeah.
was,
You know,
yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah. See, all right. So these are all things. I never said Ocarina was up. I never said I didn't like Ocarina of Time. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Jay,
Like,
you
what?
said that you liked Twilight Princess more than Ocarina of
I
Time.
do because I played it first.
Out.
All right, so we're fighting each other with each other's nostalgia here. Part of the reason I like Twilight Princess more is probably just because I happened to play Twilight Princess first. We can argue about that all day. I will admit both games have flaws. Like obviously Twilight Princess has a lot of flaws. So here, the thing for me is, and I feel like I need to apologize because I was ragging too much on the overworld. I think what it really comes down to me is I just don't see what holds it. Yes, it's very good, but so are a lot of other Zelda games, and to me, I just can't put my finger on what holds it above all the other Zelda games with so many people, besides nostalgia.
I agree with you, and I think you're absolutely right. You know, again, I played the game when it was released back in 1998, and that said, there really was nothing like it. There was a lot of splendor to seeing Hyrule Field, and again, the passage of night and day, just how vast the world was. You know, hunting those goddamn golden scarabs. Like, there was so much to it. It was a very impressive game to look at. The world was very dynamic for its time. And, you know, if you didn't see that firsthand, just like, you know, a lot of people say that Super Mario Galaxy is the best Mario ever, but you have those stalwarts who were like, Super Mario 64 is the absolute best Mario. Well, it's because, you know, that Mario 64 pretty much created the 3D platformer for what it is. Yeah. And I think it's fair to say the same that Ocarina of Time did the same thing for adventure games. And on that note, the people who experienced it firsthand and have those memories, I cannot blame them for feeling that way. I mean, I'm among the group is thinking that these are just sublime examples of genre-setting games.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Andrew, when you were talking before about how the feeling of stepping into Hyrule Field for the first time and seeing Death Mountain looming in the distance and all that stuff, that was very cool. I'm not denying that. But I hear that, and I just think you're thinking of this as someone who didn't really experience that before. And for me, I hear that, and I just think of other games that way. Like, it's not even Twilight Princess for me, because I will agree that game was somewhat more linearly fashioned. But for me, it's games like Okami. Like, you go into Okami for the first time, you're going out into Shinshu Field, and you're seeing all these things looming in the distance that you know you're going to have to come back to and all this stuff. It's a very similar feeling. It's just what game you happen to get that feeling first with, and for me, it just wasn't that.
But the point I'm trying to make is Ocarina of Time was the first game, like, almost ever to do that.
Yeah, you know? I know.
Yeah, but he didn't experience it at the time, so it's not going to...
Oh, I know, but it's also, like I said, it also has that nostalgia factor, because I was maybe 5 or 6 when I first stepped into that field.
Right.
And it was the most beautiful fucking thing.
And that's what I'm saying, right, is that I'm not denying that's a good game, but you're hitting exactly what I'm saying, which is that I don't see what makes it the absolute best Zelda game past the nostalgia factor. Like you can love it as your best Zelda game, just as I love probably Wind Waker as my best Zelda game. We can bash heads on those all day, but really, like, what can you think of something that really objectively as a game now, not looking at what it did for gaming, just as now, setting it next to the other Zelda games, like, what really sets it above those? I'm not saying it's below those. I'm saying I feel like it's on par with a lot of the other bigger Zelda games. But what sets it above? Because I just can't find that.
I love the difference between each setting. Like, the dungeons are beautiful. I love the story as little as it is. You know, being able to travel back and forth between time. You know, sure, Link to the Past has Dark World and Light World, and Link to the Past is a fantastic game. But nothing with, you know, you get to travel 7 years in the future. You get to see all the changes while you were asleep. You get to go into each of these dungeons. You get to go to a fucking torture chamber that, you know...
Yep,
there's so much lore and history behind all the stuff in Ocarina of Time that just makes it so incredible and so inviting. Like, I could go take Ocarina of Time off my shelf right now, either the 64 version or 3DS version. I could probably play it 3 times in a row, and I would still get that giddy feeling that I'm doing this or I'm doing that. I get to experience, you know, say, the Fire Temple. I get to experience the heart-wrenching, you know, Spirit Temple. You know, I get to do all of that again just because it's such an inviting experience. It's so amazing.
Yeah, Andrew.
I just want to say that Ocarina of Time is the GoldenEye of the Zelda series.
Yes. That's as soon as you mentioned GoldenEye and started talking about that, that's what I was thinking when the whole time you were talking about GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Sorry, Andrew, go on.
Well, no, it just... I agree that it's, you know, I guess, you know, the GoldenEye of the series. And I agree it's a bit overrated, but it's not the most overrated fucking game of all time. I definitely disagree with that.
Can we just all settle this and agree that Majora's Mask is by far the best Zelda game?
Nope.
I'm glad we all came to terms with that.
Jay doesn't like Majora's Mask because...
as a non-Zelda fan, I will agree with you, Frank.
I came around to Majora's
Mask is amazing. Okay, here, how about this? Ocarina of Time is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite Zelda game.
Okay.
Another vote for Majora's Mask. Awesome.
Okay? I fucking love Majora's Mask and everything about Majora's Mask, but that's a whole other fucking story.
Huh.
Jay really needs to fucking get into Majora's Mask, but he doesn't like it because of the time.
I can hear your blood boiling in your esophagus right now.
Calm
While
down.
you have that vitriol and vigor, why don't you tear into a franchise that Jay likes?
Bring it, motherfucker!
I don't really know any franchises that Jay likes.
Jay doesn't like anything. It was a trick question. Thank you for
that's right!
Andrew and I like all the same franchises. He's fucked.
Yeah.
But on that note, anything that you have that white-hot hate for, Andrew, that you want to share?
I thought about this, and I wouldn't call it white-hot hate, but, man, I just want to go back and talk about Zelda. But no.
We got him all sentimental.
I was going to talk about the Elder Scrolls series.
Wait, say it a little louder.
I was going to talk about the Elder Scrolls series.
You don't want to piss anybody off. I understand.
Like, I guess
I'm kind of with you on this.
I understand, I guess, you know, the appeal of wanting to explore the land, but let's take Skyrim, for instance. Skyrim, that's a good game. You know, I don't think it lived up to its hype, but, you know, it's a good game. But there's just... all the dungeons seem almost the same. And, you know, I guess, you know, repetitive aspect can take it in with a lot of games. Like Monster Hunter is incredibly repetitive.
Sure.
But it's just something you're taking the time to go to this dungeon for some mediocre quest, or taking your time to go to this dungeon to get one single item. And it just feels like the same experience over and over again. Oh, there's a trap, let's avoid it. Oh, hey, look, skeletons. Hey, let's kill them. Oh, look, a new dragon shout. Let's go fucking use this once and then never use it again. It just seemed very... and it's not just the repetitive aspect. The world was very inviting, but there was so many, like, screw-overs and not a lot of, I don't know, like, direction. I mean, yeah, it's an open explorer, but, oh, man,
I think that's what a lot of people love about those games, is the fact that there is no direction and that you can kind of get lost in the lore in the world. I mean, you go to one bookshelf, and if you have the will and the drive to do it, you can be entertained for an hour or 45 minutes just reading lore and fiction about the world that just ties the universe together. And I think that's why so many people are enamored with the series. There's just so much to it. The game is as much as you make of it.
Boring, want to hit things with swords.
Yeah, and I wish the game did that better.
Yeah.
Because the swordplay is atrocious. It has been for a very long time. I will agree with that.
What you were saying with the lore, like being able to go to a bookshelf, sure, you can go over to that bookshelf and you can read all those books.
Or you can steal them and sell them.
You might not understand a fucking word of it.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that. Oh, no, go ahead.
And that's the way it is throughout the whole entire, like, say, Skyrim, the whole entire game. You'd have to collectively read basically every single book in Skyrim and possibly previous installments to just understand what's going on in the lore, because the lore in the Elder Scrolls is huge, and there's only so much you can just hold in your mind about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thing about it, right, is it's all this lore, and it's just medieval fantasy lore. Like, I don't know about you guys, I get so tired of just, like, elves and swords and knights and dragons. Like, it's a good, like, it's just a generic fantasy world to me, and I don't really care about reading another enormous, extensive lore based off kind of a generic medieval fantasy setting, even if it's a well-done one, which Skyrim definitely is.
Yes, and Skyrim's a good game. Like, I picked it up at launch, 11/11/11, and I played it for about a month. I haven't touched it since. I got 7 free copies of it around Christmas time. Still haven't touched it.
You gave one to me. I've barely touched it.
It's not one of those games, and I'm not saying it should be, but it's not one of those games I can really get into it because, me personally, I don't have a lot of time. And it's not one of those games I can pick up for half hour and put back down. It's one of those games I'd have to sit and play for like 4 or 5 hours to really get a lot of enjoyment out of.
It is a huge investment.
Yeah.
And there's a whole, and plus I was going to get into this, there's a big difference between playing Skyrim by itself and then playing Skyrim with mods. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah! The Macho Man Randy Savage Dragon mod is the best thing that's ever been made.
Okay, like, once I build my computer, I'll play fucking Skyrim every fucking day because of the mods on there. Like, the Bionicle mod that I showed Jay, where,
yes.
Adds Bionicle.
Oh my god.
That's fucking amazing.
I love it.
That's something that's cool, but that's not something, Bethesda included in,
right.
The modding community. If, like, the modding community was on 360, that'd be awesome, too, but it's not. And, unfortunately, it never will be.
Yeah.
I feel like a modding community is just such a large part of the Elder Scrolls games. Like, Elder Scrolls 3 and 4, I couldn't get into. I'm surprised I even got into Skyrim. Just because it's boring.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're into it, there's a whole lot to enjoy if you like the high fantasy. If by default that's something you're just burned out on and you don't have a huge appreciation for, there isn't a lot to enjoy in these games. I mean,
I'm with you on that. I mean, I read Tolkien once, and it was good, and I'm done with it now. I can put it on my shelf, and I can revisit it when I want to.
Yeah.
But in my games, give me something a little more creative. I don't need to retread that ground again.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Like, to me, and this is kind of just a statement for most fantasy games, or just medieval fantasy stuff in general, it just feels lazy to me. Like, okay, you decided to take an existing universe of dragons and elves and just make it slap a bunch of your own words that you made up in a drunken stupor one night onto it and call it your own original thing. Like, even Tolkien is guilty of that. Like, even Lord of the Rings is guilty of that. I'm sorry, but it is.
Every DM in the history of, DMing is guilty of that.
Yeah.
But, I just want to add as a fun aside, before we finish up with Skyrim, but I do want to fit this in. If you guys had approached the Elder Scrolls games in the way that I did, I feel that you may have a greater appreciation for them. Now, I remember reading the reviews and really being intrigued with the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. So I rented it from my local Blockbuster circa 2002, and my buddy Luke and I took it to my house, and we were playing it, and we were in Balmora, the starting town of the game. Well, the first main town, rather. And we just went about stealing. We put our little kleptomaniac mode on, and we took every last random bit and bob we could find until it got to the point where Luke is marching through Balmora in a pink dress, wearing an iron hat, carrying a warhammer, and just beating the hell out of the citizens of Balmora. It was fucking resplendent. It was the most glorious thing I'd seen in gaming.
That is pretty cool. And to me, that sounds really...
What it tells me is you're a sociopath.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. But, like, to me, that sounds like a fun afternoon. That doesn't sound like a fun thing I want to do for, like...
It was a life-changing event.
Yeah, I know.
I bought a pink dress the next day.
Like, what Jay said, it sounds like a fun afternoon. There's only so much you can do of just killing the same skeleton over again. And like what I said,
it was the fact that after I did that, I realized just how much freedom you have. I mean,
there's only so much fun you can have killing the same skeleton. There are people who've been playing World of Warcraft for 8 years.
Andrew raises his hand.
I played for about a year. I've quit.
You played for like 4 years, motherfucker.
No, I didn't.
Oh, really?
I'm done paying monthly fees for games.
Oh, I agree.
Guild Wars, no monthly fee.
Did you have anything else you wanted to tear into, Andrew, or you still got more to say about Skyrim?
I just I was going to counterpoint a point I made. Killing the same skeleton over and over again. And, the same could be said, again for Monster Hunter, killing the same monster over and over again. Which it can be repetitive, but there's just more of a difference with Monster Hunter because every battle is different. You get different rewards, and you can make armor from that. With the skeletons, let's just slay the same fucking skeletons.
I don't know. There's a batshit crazy amount of loot in the Elder Scrolls games.
Oh, I'm not saying there isn't. It's just a lot of it's mediocre. 95% of the stuff that you get from a dungeon, you're gonna sell. Well, 99% of it.
I will say that you're right. The swords in Elder Scrolls don't have enough veins and eyeballs and tentacles and shit like Monster Hunter. I mean...
you are going to go to a dungeon, and, I've watched my stepfather do this 1,000 times, and that's why I can't say...
Your stepfather put you in a dungeon?
Yeah.
You poor child.
He would.
He'll get you in touch with social services.
He does look like a troll, so yeah.
He will go into a dungeon, and he will pick up every single fucking thing in sight until he's over encumbered. No, and he'll keep doing it. And, he'll be 3,000 pounds overweight. Which is funny because he's overweight.
Like he is in real life. Yeah.
But he'll be 3,000 pounds over encumbered, and then he will walk back to fucking town.
Oh my god.
As an over-encumbered fat ass.
Yup, the Dwemer Cogs. I've been there many times.
I have a friend who would do that in Fallout. He would not leave anything behind, and he could just burn hour after hour walking between locations, because damned if he was going to lose any of that loot.
Coffee cups and paperweight.
Damn real.
That's all I have to say about it.
Can I say the thing for me about, just real quick, the thing for me that I don't know why this is, and people probably think I'm crazy, but I never really enjoy the Fallout games or Skyrim that much because they just feel like everyone talks about, they're so open, you can go anywhere, do anything. That's my problem with them. Both Skyrim and Fallout 3, after the little intro area, you step out of this I think in one it's the vault, in the other it's a tunnel, and you're just surrounded by this open area with no direction, and you can just go anywhere.
And that's the thing, though. If you're buying what they're selling, it's perfect for you. Because for me, swords and wizards and tall towers, that is generally not where I live. Yeah. And when I played Oblivion, I played it and I was like, wow, this looks familiar. I liked this game when it had a post-apocalyptic setting over on top of it.
Yeah.
Fallout 3, I have over 200 hours logged in Fallout 3.
Right.
And it's essentially Oblivion, but with mutants and radiation and high-velocity, weapons.
And my problem isn't... Sorry. My problem isn't the setting. It's just... It just feels too open. It feels like, they give you the direction of, you can go here and meet this dragon or whatever, but you don't have to. If you want, you can completely ignore what the plot is telling you to do and just fuck off for 100 hours. And to me, I don't know about you guys, but that just makes everything feel weirdly futile to me. It's funny I'm talking about futilely playing a game when I'm playing a goddamn video game, but I like to have some kind of sense of direction, but the ability to be free within that sense of direction.
If you want a straightforward sense of direction, play Zelda.
Well, no, all right. So here's the thing. Yeah, there's that. If I go to a Bethesda game that I like, I would go to Dishonored before either Skyrim or Fallout, because there you have this direction of, okay, I'm being dropped into this enormous sandbox area with a mission in mind, so I can go do all these other things, hit point A, point B, point C, point D, all these other things, then do the mission, move the story along, move to the next big sandbox area. It's a succession of big sandbox areas as opposed to an entire game that's one enormous sandbox area.
Dropping you into a world and just having you have at it.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I just like that more. I don't know.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, I'll put it this way. I thoroughly enjoyed the Elder Scrolls games, but I'm not going to lie. I never finished one. Yeah, right. Because, I get lost in sugar smuggling and dwelling and hanging with the seedy underbelly of the Thieves Guild and all that nonsense. I end up distracted, sidetracked, and just play something else. It goes the same with the Fallout games. I've never finished one, but I do appreciate what they do.
I agree. It just, I don't know. Let's move on.
Do you play Minecraft?
Yeah, I do.
So
right.
you're not worried about the openness in that?
All right.
You don't even get missions in Minecraft.
Well, no, exactly. That's kind of my thing, right? It's like I was saying.
Full Fallout and Oblivion at least give you points on the map saying, hey, you can at least do something
and
here.
That's the problem, is you can, like they say, oh, if you want to advance the story along, you can go do this, but you can completely ignore that, and that makes it feel futile to me. In Minecraft, there's no sense of, this is what you're supposed to do,
but you
move
have
the story
to
along,
choose
but you
to
don't have to
ignore
do
it.
that. Yeah, exactly.
You have to make the choice to ignore it.
Exactly, and for whatever reason, maybe I'm just retarded, guys. I don't know, but
no,
for some reason, I can't let that click in my brain of there's an entire motivation to the story that I can do, or I can just completely ignore it for the entire time I play this game. Like, I would rather have a game be one way or the other. Like, I love Minecraft. I've clocked hundreds of hours into Minecraft, but that's because the entire game is just geared around the openness. In Skyrim, it's this awkward jumble of openness and deep story stuff. And that mix is just what kind of just doesn't sit well with me for some reason.
Well, we're dwelling on about an hour here now, so
yeah,
I want to just. I'm gonna move in, I think, and sacrifice a couple cows for you guys. And God, I don't know. There's so many things I hate. But I'll start with fucking Gears of War.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did they not hype that up enough? I remember seeing the early footage, Marcus Phoenix and Captain Bleachy McHarrison hiding in the gas station as the Locust are raining hell and glasses breaking above them, and that looked awesome and shit. Couldn't wait to play it. Oh my God, the Unreal Engine looked amazing. You know what? I have never gone back to a Gears of War game after finishing the campaign, and I have had to muster every last bit of my will to actually play through them. Seriously, it felt like work to me. They are the most by-the-numbers, dreadfully boring stop-and-pop shooters I've played in my entire life.
Oh, but come on, you can totally pick which way you want to go down the hall.
Yeah, exactly, and that's my biggest beef. It's nothing but long corridors with a couple pieces of cover, fighting the same handful of mutant bullet sponges who don't react when you lay into them with a machine gun until the final hit when they fall. That, to me, is not fun gameplay. It gets tired really fast. I'll admit, I've humored, one of the moderators on our boards, Crazy Ass Cracker. I've always played the games with him from the start because he's really into them, and I've sat through them with him. But really, I mean, sorry if you're listening, Tom. It's just to humor you. They bore me to fucking tears, man.
I will say,
keep going.
I actually had the Xbox around the time that the first Gears of War came out, and at the time there really wasn't any other multiplayer games other than Perfect Dark Zero. And so my wife and I actually played through the entire campaign in co-op, and we had a really good time. But ever since then, we haven't played any of the sequels. We never played the multiplayer or anything. It was just that one fun campaign run, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, and have you ever thought about it since, really? I mean, or was it just a kind of single go and that's it, you're spent?
I've kind of, I've wanted to play the sequels just to, finish the story, but I've never wanted to enough to plop down the money to actually go get it.
And frankly, you know what? If you've played the first one, you've played the next three. And that's my biggest beef with this games is, if it was just a one-off, that would have been fine. But these people are acting like the game's the fucking second coming. Like it is the flagship Xbox 360 experience. Now, I played it because, frankly, I enjoy a good co-op shooter. And that's why I got it to begin with.
Yeah.
And really, I feel that what I got out of the first 4 hours of that game is pretty much all the enjoyment that I get playing, period. I mean,
it's Halo with a cover mechanism.
No, I mean, I have an axe to grind with Halo too, and I think that they've stumbled since the first game and kind of haven't found their stride.
All good men struggle with Halo because Halo is a crap franchise.
Yeah, they discovered multiplayer and then they shit all over the campaign successively for 4 games. And, that rubs me the wrong way. I don't think that Gears of War's really done that because I think that the multiplayer has always been very subpar for Gears of War as well. So, I don't know. I think it is a very vanilla third-person shooter with a gritty aesthetic.
Completely agree.
I got no love for it, guys. How about you?
I mean, I only have the first one. I picked it up for $4 at a pawn shop. Played it for a couple hours. It's okay. Like it's a decent, like, gritty military shooter. Blah, blah. The style is very much Call of Duty with aliens, like in terms of the visual style. And like I had a friend or someone who I hung out with for a while a couple years ago who was really into that. This was the summer when or the year when Gears 3 came out. My buddy Tim at the time was really into them, and we sat through and like played some of each of them. I could not tell you which one was which because they look exactly the same.
In the future, there will be no necks.
Exactly. And honestly, I feel like even the fans are starting to feel that because, like, no one talked about the one came out 2 months ago. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah, I didn't realize it came out until the last podcast.
Yeah, no one cares anymore. I'm sorry, no one cares. Yeah, it just feels like a very mediocre cover shooter. It's okay, like it has a fan base and that's fine. I just don't get why, like you said, so many people hail it as the second coming, where it is just a thing that's okay. Like it is just, I don't know.
It's a very middling shooter experience. I think anything Platinum Games has put out is infinitely more exciting.
Yeah, when I think mediocre Xbox games, the first thing I think is Gears of War.
Yeah.
Gears of War is the ditzy cheerleader of the first-person shooter. It's pretty to look at, but after a while, you're going to get bored.
Well, now I'm picturing Marcus Phoenix in a cheerleading outfit. Thanks for that.
The Coal Train!
Go team!
Now, I think we thrashed that one enough. I didn't feel like there was much love for the game here, period. Now, moving on, I didn't know if you could really call this a sacred cow, because I don't know if there's a huge following for it. Now, you guys, sit down, take your blood pressure medicine. Fuck Animal Crossing.
Whoa!
Yeah.
No.
That's it, I'm done.
Not even with Astrophy.
That's over. We're done here. No.
Seriously, guys, now, I will say, from the beginning,
Frank,
my
I thought
wife,
you were on my side.
Is this another Animal Collection game? I hear you guys talk about it all the time, and I don't understand it either.
I have the most finite amount of nostalgia for the series just because, my wife and I, before she was my wife, when we had just started living together, I remember she had picked up the original, and it was, it was endearing waking up in the morning and seeing her tending to her town at 4 a.m. before she went to her job at Starbucks at the time, and she had such due diligence. It was awesome. She had some lucky residents in that town. She took good care of them, guys.
Now it's a town full of dead animals?
Now they're all roaches and dead animals, and it's all fucked up. I mean, they haven't had anybody working in that chowder igloo for years. But I do want to say that I understand if you have a severe OCD why you would want to do the things you do in those games. I do not have an OCD, at least not that one. All right, to me, I've never felt that compelled to deliver a VHS tape back to a bear. Okay? That's not an exciting and engaging gameplay experience.
Wait, back up.
Yes.
What?
And he's fucking pissed if he doesn't get that tape back. He's tearing ass through town, storm clouds above his head, ready to punch your fucking block off. If you don't get, who fucking uses VHS tapes to begin with? Come on,
Stephen Colbert is honest that bears are nature's killing machines, but I didn't know that they had an interest in VHS. I mean, that platform was dead when that game was released.
Yes. Now, there's that. You're working like a slave all day for this crazy tycoon, frickin' raccoon, working at his shop and yada yada and paying your house off to earn those, earning bells left and right. It's fucking drudgery, okay? And I'll admit, I'm a little peeved because, the turnip crash of 2004 hit me pretty hard and I had to sell my first Animal Crossing house, okay? I was living in a van down by the river. And, that turned me up pretty bad. But really, I just don't understand. Now, I know the new one. You can swim! Yay, so is there going to be any water physics? No. Okay, so you just move around in the... Okay, that's nice. cool. That kind of shit doesn't excite me. You're the mayor, so what? Instead of decorating your room with wallpaper, now you have changed everyone's fucking house and maybe move the houses around. Come on, guys. I was doing that in Theme Park in 1993. I don't understand why everyone loves this series so much, because frankly, I'd rather club myself in the nuts with a meat tenderizer than play that game.
Frank, it's just you and me in the room now. They've all laughed.
Yeah, that's true.
No. What I like about Animal Crossing is it's exactly the opposite of every other game that I have. There is no lose. You can't lose in the game. So when I'm tired of being chased around by aliens, or even playing SimCity and worrying about my city going bankrupt, I can just pop in Animal Crossing and do some mindless crap and relax, and it's almost meditative,
Well, what I love about Animal Crossing is just like
yes, because I'm a furry, I really like Animal Crossing.
I'm sorry.
And that's fair. I don't even have that. So it just gives me a case of the empties. I don't like feeling the empties, guys.
Like, you hop into Animal Crossing just to see what's going on. And
No, I won't hop into it.
Hey, I'm talking. You have to believe that the village that, you're a part of is still functioning and doing stuff while you're not playing it. Like, when you hop on next, you wonder, what's been going on? And suddenly, you just start acting like these villagers are real-life people. Well, not real-life people, but, like, characters you care about,
You're
some move
freaking
away.
me out, Andrew.
Some move in.
And they'll do that. If you're gone for, like, a week, they'll be like, hey, I haven't seen you in a week. And it's like, oh, wow, cool.
Hey, you know what's complete nightmare food? Waking up in a cold sweat at 4 a.m, hearing that goddamn Moles music. Resetting. Yeah.
We'll stop resetting.
Then that was her. I share a room with her. Come on. Hearing that as I beat my head into the wall and hope I fall asleep.
You don't have to play every day, but, if you play
I don't have to play any day, and I won't play any day, and I won't eat green eggs and ham. It's just...
You become attached to the progression of just, like, your town, the people around you.
I become attached to the progression of my dementia.
We're already attached to one town that we actually live in.
I still have to give VHS tapes back to Tom from 1999. I don't want to do it for a fucking creepy bear. I don't want to help.
Think about the late fees.
I don't want to help Vesta the sheep in her chowder igloo. I don't want to make myself a pretty dress.
That's a barrage of imagery. You can stop right there, Frank.
I feel terrible that I know that a red snapper that's very tasty is worth 1,500 bells.
The thing about
I could have used my brain for something else. That's valuable space. It's pretty limited. I didn't want to pop that in there.
Think about
the real estate, guys.
There is no point. Like,
that's like Mark's turn to take, Andrew.
There is no point to, like, okay, you play Minecraft. Is there a point to Minecraft?
No, my son plays Minecraft.
Well, you know what, Frank?
He's 5.
Okay. All right. Okay. But
I could do this all day.
I love hearing Andrew break. Just between
that
this
wasn't
and Zelda
convincing.
he is breaking. Awesome.
That wasn't a convincing comeback, Andrew.
You're right, and I admit defeat. But Animal Crossing, there is no point. It's a life simulation game. You play it in small doses, or you can play it along. Like, I can tell you that I'm probably going to deck in 100 hours by the end of June.
For the record, my wife wants your friend codes, guys, because she's got some fruit she needs to launder.
Awesome.
In a couple weeks.
Oh, and we'll have turnips with her.
Animal Crossing has...
You leave my wife's turnips out of this.
Animal Crossing has this sort of charm that appeals to people who still know how to tap into their childhood and just be a kid in a game.
The internet has eaten my inner child.
When I'm stopped up, I usually just play the relaxing, guitar theme from the opening of City Folk. I just play it really loud from my living room so I can hear it. And it has a kind of cathartic effect, and it just kind of falls out. You don't even need to push.
That's the tone of the whole game, right there.
You just got to blare that music like John Cusack and say anything.
So I've never played an Animal Crossing game, but from what I can tell, it's kind of just an innocent time waster game. Like I've never played them. I'm probably gonna get a 3DS one because it seems like definitely something that fits on a portable more than a console. I don't know. It just seems something that if you're the kind of person when you play games, you want to play something that's just kind of fun and lighthearted. It's good for that.
Right.
Not everyone wants that, and that's fine. I do sometimes, not all the time. So when I want to just sit and just do that for 10 minutes and just sort of waste 10 minutes and cool down, that's a good thing for that.
Frank demands blood, though. He's going to need to cross that with one of the
Exactly.
Cabela Big Game Hunter things. So.
Well, see, if you could have, like, animal dominatrix, God, that sounded so fucking bad. But,
Wow.
like,
Wow.
yeah, like,
Go on.
man.
Please, continue.
Wow. Well, if you could be kind of the animal overlord, the kind of dog father, if you will, who,
You mean
had
a Pokemon
that
master?
slimy raccoon paying you protection money so you didn't come and sit there and bust his walnuts. That would be cool. I could get into that. My Italian side kind of savors that. But,
So you need it to be
for what it
macho.
is, yeah, exactly. But for what it's worth, truth be told, I can see how people would enjoy it. Again, I have fond memories of Elise starting that up in the morning. I think that it has an undeniable charm, but I can't sink hours and hours into charm alone. I need some substance, and I mean, it's hard to dispute the fact that there is not a whole lot of substance to those games, and for that reason, I don't ever see myself playing them.
And that's kind of why I only see myself playing one like the 3DS one, because you don't need to sink hours and hours in at a time. It's just you open it up, play it for 20 minutes, go do something else, whatever.
Right.
And that's one of my favorite appeals about it is it's a relaxed game. Like, there's two types of games I needed. I need a game I can just relax and play, and I need a game where I can just beat the shit out of things. Okay? And Animal Crossing is something I've been looking forward to for 3 years now. And it's a relaxing adventure, I'll get my neighbors, I'll have fun, I'll be their mayor, I'll fucking kill them. It's just a relaxing experience. There is
Does this
no
conversation
point.
make you want to play one of those ass-kicking experiences to get out some of that aggression?
I kind of want to play Bayonetta.
All I can think of now is it's not Animal Crossing, it's now Animal Holocaust. Frank is
Oh,
the mayor
no.
of this small town.
He's the mayor, but
It's
at what
about
cost?
to get a whole lot smaller.
All right,
No, he's not the mayor, he's the Reich.
let's just go to what we've been playing before I kill
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and kill Jay, of course.
Yeah, there's that.
All right,
Real quick, I just want to say one thing that popped in my head as just 2 sentences. That's all I have to say. Not a sacred cow, but an anti-sacred cow. Metroid Other M. Not as bad a game as everyone makes it out to be. That's all.
Well, we're taking him out of the call now.
Shut up.
And I'm taking his word for it.
Yeah, I've never played it.
But you don't need to play it, but everyone makes it out to be much worse than it is because of the bad writing. Gameplay is great. That's all.
I
Bye.
won't judge you.
I had another Sacred Cow. I'm not going to go into it, but I was going to actually say the Assassin's Creed series.
Yeah.
Never
Some
cared
more
for him, to tell you the truth.
Like,
Recent ones.
Assassin's Creed 1, water will kill you.
okay, can I tell you the most exciting thing I did in the first Assassin's Creed? I walked up to a guard that was standing by a cliff, and I pushed him off. And that was the best thing I ever did in that game.
Yeah.
That's how I played Dragon's Dogma. If merchants were walking between towns, I'd literally run and pick one up over my shoulder and chuck them off a cliff.
Okay,
two
the
is
second
great.
one, fantastic game. Brotherhood is too. But Revelations, I bought that at launch. I can't get myself to beat it.
Just beat it.
I can't.
Beat it.
Like,
Beat it. No one wants to be defeated.
Okay, I've had 3
Yeah, did you ever beat
almost
3?
launch. I haven't beat it.
Oh my god.
Just
Oh.
beat it.
No, don't beat 3 because the
Beat it.
fucking level design and the... Alright, no, I'm
I
not
have
gonna
no
go with 3.
motivation. It's almost like no, it's not almost like, it's basically the Call of Duty. It's just
It's
basically
become that, yeah.
every year.
Sequelitis.
Sure, there is
Welcome to modern gaming.
It's weird that Assassin's Creed of all things would be like that. You wouldn't think that series would become that yearly iteration thing. But we don't need to go on about this.
I mean, sure, there's differences.
But Ubisoft.
Not enough
yeah.
to, I guess, classify it as a new game.
Not good differences, though. Let's see,
If you guys remember, the first game was actually very mediocre.
Yeah, oh shit. I don't like the first Assassin's Creed. Like, honestly, like, I don't remember who it was I was listening to, but like, multiple people have suggested just YouTube the first one. Skip it. Just YouTube the highlights. Totally endorsed. Will not endorse for pretty much any other game series but that. Just YouTube it.
We're kind of hitting the hour and a half mark here now, guys, so I just kind of want to steer this back into the what you're playing.
Let's go back into what we're playing. But I gotta ask first.
They're real.
Yes. Alright. Is everyone here? Alright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who, besides Jay, thinks that Twilight Princess is better than Ocarina of Time? That's fucking right. So,
that's fine.
Trevor, what have you been playing?
Me? Mainly been spending a lot of time in Guild Wars 2 still, because that game is really fun. But recently, as an early birthday gift, my wife got me Tropico 4.
Oh.
And I played Tropico 3 quite a bit, but for some reason it crashes when I try to load it now. So she got me Tropico 4, which is a lot like Tropico 3.
Yeah, I've heard.
Is it better than a hot dog toaster?
Yes, it is better than a hot dog toaster, since my hot dog toaster doesn't work anymore.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's a lot like Tropico 3, which means I can jump into it pretty easily, and which is also good because Tropico 3 doesn't work anymore, so.
Alright.
Now, do you play the tyrant route, or are you pretty good to your people?
I'm generally pretty good. I want to do a full playthrough where I'm just like Iron Fist, because that just sounds like fun, but yeah.
You're a benevolent dictator, you will be hard but fair.
Yes, exactly.
Alright, is that all you've been playing? Yeah.
That silence means yes.
Well then, Frank, what have you been playing lately?
Oh boy. So I know that the general consensus of this game is pretty bad, and it's an interesting night that we'd be talking about the sacred cows being butchered and knocking down these supposedly AAA titles, and then have me reply with, "Guys, I've been playing Deadly Premonition."
Yes.
Well, it's better than what I thought you were going to say, Frank. I thought you were going to say Aliens, Colonial Marines.
Yeah, I was going that route too, actually.
I will say that I am a big fan of David Lynch, and I am a humongous Twin Peaks fan. So, Deadly Premonition, I'm not sure if you guys have played it or know a lot about it, but it is as close as you can get to Twin Peaks the game, if there was a Twin Peaks the game made by a completely disconnected Japanese development studio. It is pretty much if David Lynch and Suda51 teamed up to make the most completely batshit game ever. And I fucking love it. And it's not just for the novelty, just of how goofy it is. I'll put it this way. I'm about 8 hours in, and the survival horror elements are totally superfluous. It doesn't need to be survival horror, because it actually makes a pretty good, just all-around mystery game. It's open world. It's all like L.A. Noire meets Shenmue. But occasionally during story sequences, the game drops into these dungeon-esque areas where you're fighting a bunch of shambling ghost zombies who come at you backwards, leaning completely backwards, trying to shove their hands down your throat. Now, while they're fist-fucking your esophagus, you wiggle them free, you push them aside, and you dump bullets from your infinite bullet pistol, just dozens of rounds. I mean, honestly, your average zombie takes about 15 shots. I'm not lying. These segments are not the pinnacle of good gameplay. They're very sloppy. They're very poorly implemented. The controls leave a lot to be desired. But that said, they also amount to the smallest portion of the game, because most of it is the exploration, the getting to know these completely quirky characters, and a lot of these characters are nods to Twin Peaks characters. Twin Peaks features a character called the Log Lady, who walks around with a log that tells her things that are relative to the story, and they're usually major revelations. Completely quirky and bizarre, but that's a lot of David Lynch's charm, is that kind of weird shit. There's a lady in Deadly Premonition who is a direct nod to her called the Pot Lady, who cradles a pot that she's terrified of letting cool. And when you try to engage her in conversation, she completely disregards you just rambling about her pot. Yeah, it's goofy. That's not the entirety of the game. I mean, a lot of it is tongue-in-cheek, but you do get to care for the characters genuinely. The main characters in the story, George the sheriff, Thomas his deputy, and Eileen another deputy. They're all very cool characters. They have a lot going on, and just, I don't know, for everything that is poorly implemented in this game, I feel like it should not have pulled me in the way it does. And it's funny, too, because you look at the graphics, and you're getting, like, a very early Dreamcast vibe from this game. I mean, it looks like it's languished in development hell for the better part of a decade. And it's funny, because on that note, with these, very bland textures in a world that's pretty empty, it's funny that when you get into a car, you have full control over both your turn signals, your horn, your siren, your blinker, like all these tiny details they've managed to fit in that are so needless. But when it comes to, a lot of the core experience, there's so much of it that seems empty and overlooked. But on that note, I still really enjoy it, and I think it's a big testament to the writing and just the way things kind of came together in this perfect fucking storm of crazy, that somehow, despite all that, I've still become completely immersed in the experience, and I can't put it down.
Are you playing the director's cut or the original?
No, actually, I'm playing the original 360 release.
Nice. Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to play it. Like, I'm also a big Twin Peaks fan. David Lynch is probably my top 3 favorite directors. I should definitely check this out.
It's dirt cheap. I think it's probably $16 at GameStop if you get the Xbox game.
The director's cut came out too, I think. I'm not sure what that's on.
It's only on the PS3.
Oh, okay. Too bad.
But if you are a fan of Twin Peaks and you were a fan of David Lynch, I think if you could just don't come in expecting a modern game. Just come in with absolutely no expectations whatsoever. Just your appreciation for Lynchian themes, and I think that you will love the game for what it's worth. I really do. You just have to give it a chance, and don't let the flaws get to you. Look for the underlying experience, because there's a lot there. I mean, I know Giant Bomb gave it a joking 10, and you see a lot of 2s floating around saying worst game ever and yada yada. Just treat it like some lost Dreamcast beta, and I think you'll find a whole new appreciation for it. In fact, you know what? I know we're not doing a roundtable today, but I'm just going to say ahead of time, this is my roundtable for next week. Fucking play Deadly Premonition.
Okay.
There you have it.
I will definitely do that one once the time comes. Which we should say we're doing roundtable bi-weekly now, so you'll still hear our stuff from last week's next week, because we're lazy some bitches.
All right. So, Frank, that's all you've been playing, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, what about you, Burt?
Well, for the most part, I have been playing the Penny Arcade card game Gamers vs. Evil, the app that came out for Android and iOS mobile devices, almost obsessively, because I can't really get a lot of people around the table to play the physical game all that often. So now I get to play it as often as I like, and it's super addictive. But what I actually wanted to talk about ties into my Unplugged, because this has actually gotten played a lot recently. If you're familiar with a game called Apples to Apples, go get a bunch of the most fucked up friends that you have and get a game called Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like a couple of you are already familiar with this game. If you've played A to A, you know that the gameplay is simple, with the green and red cards. Green cards are adjectives, and you try to match up your best red card. So in this game, it has the same structure, but they have made the cards as intentionally offensive as they possibly can. I remember one of my winning cards when I was the card czar. The person who threw down this combination won. The class field trip was going swell until it was ruined by blank, and somebody had thrown down the card for 2 midgets shitting into a bucket.
Yep.
Pretty much that card will win any round you play with me because of the randomness of it. But the game is amazing, and we've come up with some horrendous stuff which has come up with it. I mean, you got to make sure that the people that you're playing with are on board with it and understand that there is nothing sacred. Nothing sacred.
Oh, absolutely. Andrew and I enjoyed a very magical afternoon playing that with a couple friends. One of my favorites, not even a dirty one, just a really funny one, was what did Stephen Fry bring to Haiti after the earthquake? Stephen Fry.
We also had another meta one with the last thing Michael Jackson thought of before he died was Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the more innocuous but awesome ones though was that I had won a round of this. I got the black card off of it. Was before I kill you, Mr. Bond, I must show you. And my card was the true meaning of Christmas. And I mean, you can get some absolutely bizarre shit. The other one was for my next trick, I will pull Kanye West out of a sassy black woman. I mean, you can come up with some outlandish stuff, and I have not laughed so hard in quite some time as when we play this game. And I mean, we had a game that was so massive, we had 13 people around the table playing it.
Holy shit.
And everybody loved it. You can mix up the rules for it to have different types of games. You can turn it into a wager game. You can turn it into a drinking game. It's really fun. I'm going to be giving it a full review on HeyPoorPlayer.com on the Unplugged section, as soon as I can. So keep an eye on the site for it, and you'll get more more in-depth review on it. But that's a game that has been played at least a couple of times a week since I bought it.
Cool. Great to hear. All right, or is that all you've been playing? That's
pretty much all I've had on docket.
All right, what about you, Mr. Ocarina of Time hater?
Oh my god.
Never going to live that down.
I'm going to be living with him in a few months, and it's really making me dread that. No, but I've been playing the motherfucking Sonic Genesis collection on the Xbox.
Good man.
As per Frank's recommendation from a couple episodes ago.
Go for the choplifter.
I should have never traded that in.
Yeah, you shouldn't have, because it's fucking great.
Any more Shining Force?
Yes, I've been playing mostly Shining Force 2 and a little bit of Phantasy Star 4. Shining Force 2 I'm really enjoying. Like, it's definitely, got that old game charm enough that I know I was talking about how, like, medieval fantasy games don't do enough for me. I feel like grid-based, like, tactical strategy stuff is the one exception to that, like, as with Fire Emblem, which I love. The one thing I'll say I don't like about it, and it bothered me more with this than with Fire Emblem, but it's a beef I have with Fire Emblem 2. Why the fuck is it with so many of these kinds of games that where one of the characters you have on the battlefield is your main character? If any other character on the battlefield dies, the battle still goes on. But if your fucking main character takes a bullet, you have to start the entire battle over again. Because
he's the hero, man. Hero class.
So's everyone. They're all heroes.
No, when you get promoted, he actually is hero.
Yeah.
That's his title.
I don't know. It just bothers me. Like, at least in Fire Emblem, if I remember correctly, it's not like the two main characters, like your Avatar and Chrom, who's kind of the other main character, they're not exactly overpowered, but they have enough assets at the beginning that you don't need to worry about them dying quite as easily. Here, I feel like I treat all my characters differently for good situations because they're all very well. That's what I'll say is it's a very well balanced game, right. And so you have different characters who are very good for different, moments.
Did you find Kiwi?
Not yet. I don't remember where I am because it's been a few days since I played.
Okay.
I've got the rat guy. I forgot his name. Slade, right? I got Slade.
Right, Slade, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, because are you heading to Grand Seal now?
I believe I just got to Grand Seal, if I'm...
Okay, I just want to add this so you don't forget, but before you go into the castle, look around at all the houses in the town. There's a hidden character named Kiwi. He only has 8 hit points, but if you level him up and get him promoted, he is a walking death machine.
Good to know. But yeah, so I really like it, though. I just have that one beef with it, which I feel like, even though there's 2 main characters who can die in Fire Emblem, for whatever reason, it just affected me more in Shining Force. Probably just my experience, but it's been a little annoying.
Right.
Phantasy Star 4, I played a little of. I need to get back into that more, because that was a lot of fun, too. God, I played some Phantasy Star 2 as well, and fuck that. I'm sorry. Oh, God. That's just one of those...
You had to be there in '89. That's all I gotta say.
It has been so long since a game has just visually given me a headache so quickly. Oh my! It's just searing bright purples and blacks and stuff. It's all these neon colors fucking coming at you. I don't really like that one quite as much. Oh, I played some of Ristar too, which is
Ristar's fantastic.
That's a lie. No, it's okay.
Developed by Sonic Team.
I probably will not come back to it, but it's okay. It's a weird platformer. I will say, playing these on the friggin' 360 really makes me wish I had a PS3, because I'm sure it would be more fun to play on that, because the 360 has the shitty D-pad. I don't have one of the newer controllers that has the fixed D-pad. And so with Shining Force, it's not as big a deal because it's not like real-time movement and stuff. It's all, turn-based, so you can move stuff around a little easier. Same thing with Shining Force. With stuff like Ristar, I'll be just moving in the wrong direction from what I'm hitting on the D-pad. Then I go to the joystick, and it's not much better. Right. So that's just a little gripe based off the controller, but it's still a lot of fun.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Dynamite Heady on that collection?
It might be. I don't know.
Trevor, I'm pretty sure it is.
There's a lot of things I haven't checked out on it yet.
It's from Treasure, the same team who made Gunstar Heroes, and it's such a fantastic game. I can't recommend that enough. Once you're done tinkering with the games you're messing with now, I really recommend you checking it out because it's just a really frantic and fun side-scrolling action game that really shouldn't be missed.
I will absolutely do that. And I forgot, actually. I've also been playing the first Streets of Rage on there.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's a hell of a lot of fun. Fuck the fire guy.
The fat guy who runs and breathes fire, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's the worst. Yeah. Oh, man.
Is that soundtrack not completely amazing?
It's pretty damn great, yeah.
2 is so much better.
I'm going to play 2.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I can't wait to play 2. But I want to get through the first one first, since I'm having fun with it. It's a good beat-em-up. Man, besides that, I can't think of a lot I've been playing. I got the new Humble Bundle, which has a lot of stuff I'm going to be playing in the next week. And Remember Me is coming out in a few days, so I'm getting really psyched for that. So I'm kind of not playing a lot right now, just because I know I will be very soon. But yeah, I think that's all I've been playing.
All right. Well, great to hear, Jackass.
On that note, we're gonna go.
What about what I've been playing?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Well, fuck you, Frank. Man, now I forgot everything I've ever been fucking playing.
We already know, Monster Hunter.
No, not Monster Hunter.
Now he's lying to us.
What I've been playing is, unfortunately, Adventure of Link.
Oh, man.
And, man, I'm trying. I'm trying so hard.
They didn't even use the Astroglide for that one.
I'm on...
It's not a bad game.
I'm on the 3rd palace, and man, it's fucking, it's hard.
It's brutal.
Like, it's not a bad game, no, it's a bad game, but it's just, it's difficult. There's just these bosses, or not these bosses, just these foes that are so hard to hit, and you can only do so much, and all you have
those bastard Red Knights.
Yes! Holy shit. And all you have is your trusty sword and a limited amount of magic, and you can turn into a fairy and fall.
Wait till you fight the blue one. You're going to learn all sorts of new curse words.
I found them. Oh,
the one that rides on horseback?
Oh, what? Well...
His worst fears have just been
like I said, you're going to learn whole new curse words you didn't know. You might lose a testicle because you tear it off and throw it at the wall on frustration. Crazy shit happens when you play, The Adventures of Link. So
okay, and I've made the
Steel yourself.
I made the promise to beat every single Zelda game, but I had to do it in order, and this is my wall.
Yeah.
Okay, after I get through this, I will get through every other fucking Zelda game in a month. 2 months, okay?
Too, yeah.
Alright, this is my wall.
I don't think you're going to finish it.
Don't tell me
I don't think you're going to.
I told myself that I wasn't going to use the save states and I wasn't going to use a guide, but fuck it, I'm using the save states and I'm using a goddamn guide because
it's already broken.
Yeah, I think you should give yourself. I think you should be able to give yourself like one freebie, and I think Zelda 2 is the one most deserving of that freebie.
Yeah, I'm gonna get through it. I can't. I'll say that I've beaten Adventure of Link. The other game I've been playing is it's a game called Towns. It's I got it off Steam because the trading card game that Steam added. I completed my Portal deck and I actually got a coupon for 50% off this game called Towns. So I said, hey, why not pick it up? I tried the demo. I enjoyed it. So I bought the game. It cost me $7.50. It's originally $15, and it's pretty good. It's not the best. It's kind of a resource management strategy RPG game where you control this little town. You start off with 11 citizens, and you have to start building areas for them to live, to build, to store stuff. For instance, I start off building a carpentry so they can start building wooden walls to build their houses around. I built a stockpile. They bring all the wood to that stockpile. There's a lot to it. It's very difficult and kind of hard to play at the moment. It's officially released back in November, but they're still working on it. It can be very hard to tell what's going on where. The graphics are... What?
So if you like that, you should try Dwarf Fortress.
Oh yeah, I was talking to Jay about that. I want to
yeah.
But it's good. It's graphically appeasing. It's not.
It looks a lot like Minecraft, kind of.
It can't. No.
Well, no, I'm saying like text, like just not presentation wise.
It's blocky.
Like, yeah, it's similar blocky style. A lot of similar looking enemies. It does
like a new retro kind of look.
It looks like a pixelated Sims view version of Minecraft, kind of.
It's enjoyable. It's very difficult. I'm gonna throw this out. The tutorials on the game are bullshit, and I actually had to look up a 6-part video on YouTube that really got me to play. You know, a tutorial video set of videos that got me to play because the tutorials on there don't tell you shit. They tell you the bare basics, and that's not enough to start playing. But other than that, that's all I've been playing.
Alright, well, sheathe your master swords, stop attacking me. I am not the Ganondorf that you make me out to be. I will not, because this episode's over. That was a terrible transition, but bada boom, episode end! So, you've been listening to another episode of the Hey Poor Podcast, and thank you so much for doing so. You can find us on iTunes, you can find us on Stitcher, you can find us at HeyPoorPlayer.com, and you can find all our awesome content there. You can find us on Tumblr at hppofficial.tumblr.com. Find us on Reddit at reddit.com/r/HeyPoorPlayer. Find all of Trevor's video stuff at youtube.com/noiselessmound. And that's pretty much it. Check us out at heypoorplayer.com. I did not say at any point that I thought the Ocarina of Time was the worst game in Twilight Princess. I just said I like Twilight Princess better, so you're all a bunch of jackasses. And thank you for listening to another episode of Hey Poor Podcast, and good night.